is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Take my breath away and make it last forever.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Frankie Corrado.
Look at this guy. Are you kidding me?
I'm a bow tie guy.
Oh.
I feel good. I look good.
Hazenthal is alive.
Hazenthal is alive. I had to because I've been down at the park, game 1 and game 2.
And it's not Hayes is a fraud anymore. It's where's the bow tie?
Hayes is a fraud is dead, and now people are just yelling at me after 15 Budweisers, yelling at me, where's the bow tie? Screaming at me in the street, walking through the corridors, in my seat. It never stopped. And I said, I got to wear the bow tie. I got to put it to an end. I said if they made the World Series, I'd wear the bow tie.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's really nice. It looks like you dusted that thing off after like 20 years. You found like your wife put that away for you somewhere in the closet, and you're like, I know it's back there. I just got to go for a search. You wore it for like a wedding party one time.
His own wedding. Is that your wedding bow tie?
No, I didn't do bow tie. I wasn't a bow tie guy. I find it's probably like 1 in 5 weddings the guy goes bow tie. You went bow tie, didn't you? Oh, I think I remember you rocking a bow tie at your wedding.
Yeah.
You were in a bow tie. Yeah, you were in a bow tie.
I was bow tie. Bow tie is great.
Really?
Man. It's distinguished.
Yeah,
it's different. And everyone knows you're the man of the hour. Just like Hayes, you're the man of these next 2 hours. Can I just tell you one thing? I'm disappointed you're not going to Los Angeles because I would have loved for Hayes to be telling us all about L.A. Oh, my God, I love L.A. Are you kidding me? Fish tacos, these are the best. Like, anything to do with L.A., because that's all, like, the media people that have been coming up here have been doing. A Caesar. I can't believe it. A Caesar. Toronto's the best city ever.
Dude,
I needed you to do that down in L.A.
And I don't know the guy, but Ben Verlander, he laid it on so thick. Everything that came out of his Twitter account was, I can't believe how much I love Toronto. Do you follow that guy, Hayes? Like, he laid it on so thick. I wanted to write him back and say, I know.
Did the city of Toronto, pay him to do that? Because it was so over the top.
Oh, my God. I wanted to say to him, dude, we get it. You're here. You like it. You've gone way over the top. It's crazy now.
It was ridiculous. And that's Justin's brother, for the record.
Dude, no kidding.
Right? Like
that's his brother?
Yes.
He played in Detroit, which is like 4 hours away, man.
Right.
Like, you got to know what the city's about at this point in your life.
Well, and
it was nice, but it was too much.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you don't. No, cool. There's a lot of places I haven't been. I'm sure I would go and see them and say, that's really cool stuff. Like, wow, that's really cool. There's a massive tower. This is a nice park. That's a cool drink I've never thought of before. This guy was putting it on so thick, like you said. It was to the point where it was a bit. It had to be a bit. I don't believe it was sincere. It was so patronizing.
Toronto tourism gave that guy 100 G's to say, this is the best place on earth, man.
I think so. I honestly think there's a chance, either the mayor or maybe it was a provincial thing. I don't know, maybe Doug Ford, right? He's spending a lot of money right now trying to, advertise. He's spending a lot of money right now. Maybe he said, hey, I got to get Ben Verlander, on the hook here. I got to get him here talking about what's going on in Toronto. And
needed that from you, man.
You're right. Maybe we need someone flying the other way. And, hey, look at this sign. Hollywood.
Can you believe it?
Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen?
It's the best sign ever.
I just had fish tacos. Can you believe fish tacos? Unbelievable. My God.
You know what else you probably see in L.A.? I think you might see that weasel Yamamoto in his backyard striking out his neighbors. I don't think that guy stopped pitching. He scares the living hell out of me, that character.
He is so good. So,
dude, I hate him. I hate that guy.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy is someone dug up an old tweet of the negotiations when he was coming over that the Yankees, I guess, stopped at $300 million.
Because they thought that was just the number.
That's enough. And the Dodgers were like, well, we'll give you $325 to close the deal. And he said, fine, I'm coming to L.A. And maybe he was going there anyway because, again, I believe Ohtani was there at that point. I think they came over at the same time. So it seemed as if it was likely a package deal. But the idea that you would stop short to get a guy like that who is so filthy. And Keegan, I think, laid it out beautifully post-game. He said, outside of Paul Skeens, and maybe not even Paul Skeens, there's nobody better. And the seat I had with Hedge up in left field, and I've got a story to tell you guys in a moment of what I saw that I have incredible appreciation for. It was actually a perfect view to see the nastiness on this guy's pitch, because what they have at the Dome, as we all know, is they will detail the pitch that was thrown. Right after it's thrown, you look up on the Jumbotron or whatever, fastball, 97 miles an hour, curveball, 81 miles an hour, slider or whatever. You didn't even have to look because it just fell off a table. You're like, look at that curveball from here. Look at that slider. Look at that fastball. Look at that changeup. He had them so perplexed at the plate. The only extra base hit was the first one of the game. George hits a double immediately, and I'm thinking, here we go. It's going to be just like game one, shootout. Let's get crazy here. And it was not. And you just got to tip your cap, man, because that guy is a beast.
Dude, he's an assassin. He's a full-on
You're going to see him
assassin.
again if this goes deep.
And he's got that journal, that black book journal, and he's just like marking all his whoever he whacked. He's like, yeah, I got him with the slider, going to go to it again. He reacted late on it. Like, this guy he's a full-on assassin out there.
What about when he
crazy.
was practicing in the dugout? He's like, I got to get back out there. He scares the hell out of me. He's like, what, Duthie size? Like, is he 5'7" or something? And he was dealing 97-mile-an-hour fastballs out there. And then
painting corners, too.
Painting corners in that stupid curveball. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And it looked like he wasn't even breathing hard. Like, I'm telling you, that guy could pitch 3 times in this series and not even flinch, man.
I think you're right. And, yeah, the stretching routine he was doing, like it was a whole weird vibe. But the guy is an absolute machine. And luckily, he will not be on the mound tonight. Glasnow will be for the Jays, or for the Dodgers, and Scherzer's going out there for the Blue Jays.
I don't like that decision. I'm sorry. There's something about it, Hayes. I think it's weird. And I know Bieber hasn't been lights out. He had the one performance, what was it, in Seattle, where he
got it together in Seattle. Game 3 pitched really well after the first inning. That's when I tweeted out disaster, and then it blew up in my face.
But there's just something about Max where he had that performance, and it's like everybody's all gung-ho. It scares the hell out of me, to be honest with you.
You think the pixie dust kind of wore off a little bit? Like, he had that moment where he's yelling at Schneider, and now it's like at some point it was going to jump the shark. Like, it was going to fall off a cliff. Is that tonight? I hope not. Like, he's definitely got the chops for the moment. It's just, do you have the stuff? Like, does it hold up? Did the Dodgers figure
gas?
You're out?
Exactly. Do you have gas in the tank? I mean, that's what you're – listen, it was a conundrum either way because Bieber scared me too. I mean, let's be clear here. I would be scared either way because Bieber has had 3 starts in the playoffs. 2 of them have not been very good. And I think this is about them hoping Scherzer can be better. I think it's the right play. And I also don't think you can consider what's going to happen in Game 7 right now if you're the Jays. Like, you really have to abide by the cliche. You take it one game at a time. You try to shorten the series. If you can win the game tonight, Scherzer, Bieber, Bassett, I don't care who it is, pitch them and try to find a way to go up 2-1 in this series. Yeah. And that's, I think, what their thought process is. And, Bieber's given them about as much as they can expect. They hoped for more maybe. But he's coming off Tommy John, hasn't, pitched a lot in the last 18 months, and he's given them as much as they can give him. The truth is they're going to need him tomorrow. That's the thing. It doesn't matter if he goes tonight or tomorrow. He's still pitching. He's in L.A. Yeah. And if they lose tonight, then the pressure is on him significantly tomorrow. And if Scherzer gets run out of the game early tonight and they've got to use the bullpen and they lose, that's a double whammy of pressure on Bieber to go deep and perform. Yeah. So but either way, it was going to be a bit of a gamble.
Like, all these guys that you talked about, like Bieber, getting all you can get out of him, Scherzer. We're talking about the Jays in the World Series. We're not talking about them losing in the ALDS or if they had to play the wild card. Like, they've gotten to where it's been a long time since they've been here.
Yeah,
and everyone's pitched in. Everyone's done their job at different moments. So it's not this, we'll have the conversation, of course, because it's a big game and every game's a big game every moment. But holy man, like, talk about everyone pulling their weight to get here. They've done that, and
Everyone
then some.
has, Frank.
Yeah.
It just seems like after the first two guys, Savage and Gosman, it's like it's 2 a.m. at the bar and the lights come on, and then Pete Walker and Schneider are wandering around trying to get it right. It's like
And they got Scherzer, right? Like, that's the old...
When
you
the
know.
lights come on and you see Scherzer with the two different eye colors.
Yeah.
with his hair a mess, and you're like, oh man.
What's that old bar where it used to be 9/11 night downtown? What the hell was that place
Croc
called?
Rock.
Croc Rock. It's got Croc Rock vibes with Scherzer out there.
3 a.m. at Croc Rock when the bouncer flips the lights on.
But here's the counter to that. All right, Glasnow, the Jays have a lot of history against him, and it's very positive history, right? I guarantee you in L.A. they're looking at Glasnow saying, this is a serious fall-off. You know, like Yamamoto is the definition of an ace. He's a machine. Glasnow is very good, but he's gettable. This offense, I think, sets up better against him, clearly, than Yamamoto. And his history, he's got like a 5+ ERA against them in his career. Now, this is the World Series. It's the playoffs. He's in L.A. I guess what I'm saying is I'm bracing for offense, and I think ultimately that's what has been proven here. When the Jays have had success in the playoffs, their offense puts up big runs. And their pitching may be very good, or maybe it's a little bit shaky, but ultimately they have so much run support. That's what happened in Game 1. You know, Savage was good. He wasn't, like, phenomenal. He didn't pitch like Yamamoto. It wasn't like an all-time great start. But their offense was so explosive. That 6th inning was so crazy. It was like a really strange experience because it's Game 1 of the World Series, and the whole building is totally relaxed, and you knew the game was over. You knew it. When they got out of that 6th inning, you could put your feet up. It didn't matter. Ohtani hit a 2-run home run, I believe, the next inning. It didn't matter. No one even cared, which is so rare to be able to breathe easy in the World Series. And that's because of the bats. It wasn't because they had Yamamoto equivalency on the mound where you just knew he wasn't going to give up anything.
Hazy,
That's what they need. They need to hit.
Okay, but if they don't they have to prove it's the World Series and you might have to grind one game out 2-1?
Yep.
Like, it seems like they can only do it if they have an inning where they blow it open and they score 9 runs in an inning. It's like, that's great and everything, but you got to win a nail biter, man. You're going to have to win.
I think that's reasonable to expect. If you're going to win a World Series against the LA Dodgers, you're going to have to win like 3-2 or 2-1 in a grind-out game.
Can you do it? Like, is it reasonable expectation to say we can only win if we blow the doors off a team? I don't know if that's reasonable, man. Well, I don't know if the Dodgers think that's reasonable.
Well, in this, you're in the Dodgers' playground right now, man. Like, this is their territory. They know this better than any other team in recent memory, and. Can the Jays play the Dodgers style where it's like it's really intense, it's going to go down to the wire? There's probably a very fiery inner belief within that clubhouse in LA that, like, you know, we know we'll win. We know we'll get things done because they've done it. You know, the Jays are new, and there's something to be said about being naive to the moment and just kind of staying in the moment, but You're in the Dodgers playground, man, and that's a tough thing to navigate when they're so comfortable there.
Yeah, they are, and they showed it in Game 2. You knew they were going to come back with something, and it was too bad for Gosman because he was pitching so well. And, you know, that home run that Will Smith hit, I thought went off his bat, I thought it was going to land in my lap. Like, it actually fell, like, below where we were, but that's exactly where we were. He hit that thing on a rope. Like, he hammered it. And Hedge and I were sitting up there, and we're up there with Stefan, and Ian's up there, like the whole TSN crew. There was a member of the media sitting right beside Hedge that was asleep for the whole game. I mean, every single pitch outside of the home runs. And this was Game 1, I should point out. This guy was asleep the whole time. And Barger hit that grand slam. I think he snapped out of it, looked around, and said, shut up, and went right back to sleep. And I was in awe. I'm watching the game. This was more interesting. It's almost impossible to think that way. It's Game 1 of the World Series.
So this was Game 1.
Game 1 of the World Series. The craziest inning, maybe in World Series history, is partaking. The roof is exploding. There are 45,000 people going absolutely crazy, and this guy is out like a light the whole time. And I was so captivated because all I was wondering was if the World Series isn't enough juice for this guy.
What's he doing in a regular season game in July, dude? Does he even show up?
I don't know. Either he doesn't show up, or maybe he's laying along, like he's literally on the ground laying down. At least he was in his seat. But what has to happen for this guy to get fired up?
What I want to know is, did you catch this human being doing some kind of fake breakdown like Mad Dog Russo, where he was describing the game and acting like he was involved heavily in what the hell was going on? Or did you know what the guy's gig was?
I don't know what his gig was. I don't know. I wasn't going to wake him up and ask him. I was terrified of bothering the guy. He
after he sat down, as far as you know, did he sit down after or before you?
I believe he was seated when I got up there, and I got up there about a half an hour before first pitch.
So Gosman's got the ball.
No, this was Savage, game one.
Okay, Savage has got the ball. He's in his windup. If you look to the left, was he already gone?
I believe he is out like a light at that point. Like, I'm talking a 3-hour shutdown at a major sporting event.
That's very concerning. It's very concerning. That's like you got to see a doctor about that. And I don't even know what the hell you're going to prescribe for that. The only thing I can think of is, did this guy fly halfway around the world that day? And
I will say I believe he was a part of the Japanese media. I believe he was. And it's possible the guy was maybe he was going through what Dave Roberts was going through. You know, Godspeed to Dave Roberts, right? Like the Dodgers were slightly inconvenienced flying back to L.A. So maybe Dave will be asleep in the dugout tonight.
Is Dave okay?
Dave, those guys were like, we just want to don't even act like we're going to flash our passports and don't talk to us and let us go. And they got a couple questions, and they hated every second of it.
Yeah. Well, they should have gone through the Nexus line. I don't know, man. It's pretty peachy flying on the private charter. Most of the times you don't even have to go into the terminal. Like, they come to the bird with a little table, and they set up shop there, and they go, oh, you're Dave Roberts? Okay, passport. And then they highlight your name, and then you're gone. Like,
furthermore, it's American customs. Like, people lose sight of that all the time. That's not Canadians getting on the plane. That's not the RCMP saying we're not letting you leave the country. It's American customs checking before they fly back into the country. And furthermore, there have been reports that it's LAX that was the problem. Something was going on. There was some shortage of staff or something at LAX. They weren't prepared to bring planes in. So, I don't know. It's just Dave Roberts. This is what aggravates Canadians more than anything. Like, every Canadian hates it when Americans complain about customs. They hate it, especially when it's private birds and millionaires and athletes.
Well, there was a podcast with NBA guys talking about, travel, you got to go through customs every time. And then the other guy was like, oh, my God, that was so brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was the worst thing on earth. And it's like, man, really, was it that bad?
I know. Really? Was it that bad? Like, I get that all the other domestic U.S. teams, you just fly on, and you can speak to it, both of you guys. You played in the States. Like, flying, I'm sure, from Carolina to Washington was a breeze for you back in the day. You know,
you literally you walk onto the bird and you leave.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
the bird is essentially a car at that point. The bird turns into a car. It's an extension of your own car. You're parked on the tarmac. You walk right into it, and away you go. And furthermore, as far as how pampered you are, 30 minutes before landing, the crew there has started everyone's car in the middle of winter and has it at the cabin at a comfortable temperature of 25 degrees with your ass warmer on. Nice. So with all that stuff happening, you can see how guys look at customs and say, oh, my God, can't believe we got to go through customs. Like, what more, what more do you want at that point?
Yeah, it's just Dave Roberts. He's out trolling people right now. Trolled after the championship series, said, let's go out and win another one and ruin baseball because everyone's talking about a salary cap and the Dodgers being too, bad for baseball. And I don't think he cares what people up here think or how they react to it, but it adds a little bit of sugar to the whole thing.
Dude, you should have seen that guy while Yamamoto was on the mound. He could have been in a rocking chair. I'm not kidding. Like, you just looked at him. He was dead. Like, he looked like he was in his living room on a recliner watching like a Netflix series. He was very comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think
he's like, this guy's going 9?
Yeah, you knew exactly what you're going to get. It was the exact same thing he did against Milwaukee. The exact same start.
Maybe that's what Hedges' buddy there next to him already knew. He's like,
Valid.
Yamamoto's on the mound. I have my story written. I'm going to file it as soon as it's all done. I'll wake up from my 3-hour nap, and I know exactly what's happening here. I don't have any concern about it, so I'll shutter for 3 hours.
Yeah, I think I have a great appreciation for it. Game 1 of the World Series, why would you want to watch that?
Yeah,
Why
wrong
would you
game,
want to be awake for that?
He was already looking forward to Game 2. Wrong game.
Exactly. He had plans for Game 2. He had plans. All right, I guess I got to rock the bow tie the whole show. I was thinking about only doing a segment, but
No, it's
so
show.
esteemed. I mean, it actually is a really good look. I understand now where Ken Rosenthal's going. Like, Ken knows what he's doing. It's a good look.
Do it. Like, you just got to get on the field and push him over and then stare at him and just give him the glare.
It's
Have you been
such
close
a
to him?
boss move.
You've been
Yeah.
close to him out there?
I saw him a couple times. Yeah, I never got close enough for a quick stop and chat with him, but I was on the field after Game 1, I think it was, and he was talking to John Schneider or something like that. And anyway, we'll see. We got Game 3 tonight. So Ryan Dempster coming up from Dodger Stadium. Ryan will join us in about 10 minutes. He was up here in Toronto for Games 1 and 2. We got Luke coming up. Man, Owen Wilson is a disaster. You guys can't pick anything. And
Dude, we're as bad as Pitt's unis.
those were the worst uniforms
dude.
ever, the Steelers last night.
What were they thinking? In the mix, like the combo of the white Packers against those ones, it was like, that looks so brutal on TV.
Yeah, it was a bad look. And Rodgers
Awful.
doesn't look – my brother-in-law
that's-
said he looked like Monty Burns in that gear last night. Like, he just it ages you bad uniforms. You know what I mean?
Totally agree. I think the
Ages
shine's
you.
coming off of Pitt all over the place, man.
Yeah.
What are
a
they, 4-3
performance.
now?
4-3. The Ravens got to win. Lamar should be back, but I guess I'll believe that when I see it. But the rest of the division stinks. You know, the Bengals lost to the Jets, and Cleveland sucks. So even if they come back to earth, Pittsburgh's still in a pretty good spot. But that was about Jordan Love last night, man. That was incredibly impressive how good he was. He was so good and so accurate. He never throws interceptions. He's got no pulse out there. And the Packers, that was a big statement win on Sunday night.
Yeah,
Like-
you've been up and down on him. You either give that review or you give the other one where it's like, Love, I'm not sure what he's doing out there. He's
That's
kinda had a
every
bit of
Packers
both.
fan, right? Like all the Packers fans so many times want to focus on what can't Jordan Love do. And then last night was a good example of like and not just last night. There's been plenty of examples, but he's obviously very good, and it's kind of fitting that he does it against Rodgers too, where, you know, the history of them drafting Love when Rodgers was still there, like why do you need a quarterback? Well, pretty
This
good
is
player
why.
if you ask me.
This
Yeah.
is why, and you're right. It's also the bar that's been set by his predecessors, which is probably unfair to him. You go Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and that's the bar that the fan base sets. Like, well, you got to match that guy. You know, you think you can play like this guy? I watched 2 Hall of Famers play the last 35 years. What are you going to bring to the table? You know, it's asking a lot, but he's doing it. He's pulling his weight. He looked great last night. The Packers, they're legit, man. They're going to get better and better and better this season. I firmly believe they are going to be in Super Bowl contention if they stay healthy. So Luke on that and more still to come. The Leafs back in action tomorrow night. They got an OT winner on Saturday. They're lost on Friday night. They're dealing with some injuries. We'll get into that. There's a bunch going on with these Canadian teams. The mood meter could flip in like 72 hours. Like now Ottawa's won 2 in a row. They feel great. You know, the Oilers not looking so great. Vancouver got a big OT win last night that they needed because they had a lead on Edmonton. So things are flipping in terms of the Canadian markets. So we'll get to that a little bit later this afternoon as well. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Man, people get really fired up for the sports equinox. They love the sports equinox because the NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL, and NBA are all playing on the same night. 32nd time in history that's happened. And it feels like it happens every year now. You know, like at some point we got to stop. Like it's cool. It is cool that all the 4 sports are playing. But because the World Series goes so late, it's going to happen every single year.
Yeah.
It's going to be every single year now. So
How do you divide your attention to everything too? Like not every just regular dude has 4 TVs set up in their living room. You got one.
not easy. Not easy because obviously up here it'll be Jays. Raptors, though, are playing Wemby tonight. That's big. Like, you're going to see him twice all year. You never know if he'll make it to Toronto. He's injured a lot, or a lot of guys are getting banged up. And then, of course, you got NHL and a big NFLer tonight. You got Chiefs at home against Washington. Hazenbrough on the clock. We'll get to that in about a half an hour. But Game 3 of the World Series, we shift gears and head to L.A., and here's a guy that I'm sure it's easy for him to get through customs on both sides of the border, right? Good Canadian boy. He's down there for the MLB Network and host of Intentional Talk, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline, live from Dodger Stadium. Here's Ryan Dempster. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great, guys. Got down here on a nice, smooth transition from Toronto last night. Spent a little time at the beach yesterday, and now got out here early to Dodger Stadium. And just super pumped for Game 3.
Ryan, what's the vibe in the States with the Jays in the World Series every year? Obviously, for 32 or 33, we've been up here saying it's the Braves, the Dodgers, whatever. What's the vibe down there with the Jays being in the Fall Classic?
Yeah, I think there's this, this superpower in MLB with the Dodgers, right? And everybody down here respects it, but also, like, you tend to root for the underdog. And I think a lot of people down here are rooting for Toronto. People in LA all think the series is going to be over in 3 more games, but I think we're going back up to Toronto for sure, and going to be playing some more games up there. This is just 2 good baseball teams. I think there's a lot of respect for the Blue Jays. Talk to these players, talk to the guys on the other side of the field. They have a lot of respect for this team, and rightfully so. They deserve every bit to be playing in this World Series.
If you were an American baseball fan and you hadn't watched the Jays all season long, what's the biggest thing you've learned about them so far?
Complete team, does everything. I think the biggest thing is you learn the true impact of not striking out. When you can hit good pitching, and listen, they had a daunting task in Game 2, as we saw the series before. Milwaukee, same thing, struggled to hit Yamamoto. You're running into arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now. But this is a team that will grind you in at bats. They'll find a way to put the ball in play. And I think that just they got good starting pitching, good bullpen, play good defense, all those things. It's just just such a well-rounded, well-balanced team, completely confident, and looking forward to this challenge ahead of them.
So you got Max Scherzer on the mound tonight for the Jays, and he's made one playoff start, and it was one that we'll never forget, in large part because of his interactions with John Schneider on the mound, and then Pete Walker in the dugout. As a pitcher yourself, and a guy that I'm sure you know Max very well, what did you make of the Scherzer interactions in Game 4 of the previous series?
I loved it. I thought it set an amazing tone for exactly what you need. Sometimes we get so jaded in not trying to show emotions unless it's a home run, right? Like, it's okay if a guy throws the bat up in the air and we chest pump and we do all the home run stuff, but it feels like sometimes the other way around, maybe a guy on the mound, or if we're out in the field, it's like, hey, easy, not too much of that. You don't want to get too high, too low. But for Max to, challenge like that at the right time in front of his whole team, his manager was waiting for it all year, and then to go out and get the strikeout and then get 2 more outs in the next inning, I just think it sent a message to his team of, the passion he has. This guy's been to 4 World Series now with 4 different teams. He's about to start his 5th World Series game. Like, that's a resume very few can match. And I think when you see a guy like that wearing his emotions on his sleeve, then backing it up, it boosts you. It gives you a jolt as a teammate, as a friend, as a guy in that locker room. You got to be fired up about that. And it just kind of motivates everybody to be the best they can. Hey, man, this is when you got to play your tightest games of the year because the margins of error are really small. And for Max to go do that, he's well rested and hoping to do that again. And I think, early inning success is the key for him today. But I just love the passion he's always shown. I love that emotion. And, it's a first ballot Hall of Famer, doing his thing during the playoffs.
What do you think is the best case scenario for Scherzer tonight? Like, if you're being reasonable, what you can expect out of him tonight, what John Schneider would pencil in for him this evening?
Best case scenario, you're pitching into the 6th inning. A really good scenario is if he's 4 or 5 for you. I think, just if he's good and he's clean, you're going to let him go, right? So, but if he can battle through or navigate any kind of traffic on the base pass, if that happens, and I think, a lot of that's going to be his stuff. I think the days off help. I think the rest before his previous start, and then he's got a huge long rest since his last start. I think as we get older, Father Time, it gets us, so the more rest we get, the better we are. And I expect him to have good stuff tonight. If he can command it, I wouldn't be shocked to see him go, into the 6th inning.
On that note, what's a reasonable expectation for Bo Bichette now that he's playing? We obviously know he's not 100%. He's playing second base. What can you expect out of Bo Bichette if everything goes well?
Yeah, I think just a little. Even he had quality at bats as far as hitting the base hit, drawing the walk in game one. Tough draw to go pinch hit in the second game to do that. But I think timing-wise, maybe a little bit crisper. Like he took a 3-0 hack, but he's a little late on it. It's hard to just jump back into it when you're facing this pitching staff, right? You're facing guys with number one type stuff in Snell and Yamamoto and now Glasnow and then Ohtani. So I think just having that opportunity to get some really electric live stuff, get a little bit of a breather. I imagine I wouldn't be surprised if you just see him play every game the rest of the series. If he's on your roster, he's Bo Bichette. He led the American League in hits. Let him play. He's a glue guy in that clubhouse. Let it just eat. And for Bo, you got possibly 5 games left. Everything you got, and hopefully your knee does well, and you get the rest and recovery you need to do to go out there and try and come up with that big base hit, have that big moment.
Ryan, we were talking about that Yamamoto. That guy is just a machine. Like he's just so focused. He doesn't get up or down. He just can't wait to get back out there. He's a scary human being on the mound, isn't he?
Yeah, that's why I think you got to. Tonight's such a big win because you're gonna. If you go back to Toronto, he's throwing game 6. And so game 6. So it's like you don't want to get into that. You want to get into that situation where you're not chasing that down 3-2. You'd like to be up 3-2 going back home. But it's really there's a reason, right? A lot of people go, man, this guy got $350 million. How? And then you see his stuff, and you're like, okay. And then you see the command and the precision at which he operates. Yeah. It's meticulous work from preparation before games, his work in between innings, his journal he logs. He's a student of the sport. He just studies pitching so much, and then he's got such command of his body and his mechanics. And at the end of the day, guys, we all talk about stuff. There's lots of guys who throw hard or they got good spin. People go back and watch that, or even you don't have to watch it. Just go and look at his pitch locations on a heat map. The amount of pitches that he throws to unhittable spots to hitters, like Mark, I was sitting there saying like those pitches, like the one he struck Lucas out on, and the one down and away to Varsho, like 97 darted in the bottom right-hand corner of that strikeout with a 4-seam fastball with Perry. The only thing you can do with that as a left-handed hitter, I believe, even the greatest, is a base hit to left field at best. And he just commands the strike zone so well, top and bottom of it, and that's what happens, right? Legendary performances in the postseason. Sometimes they come on the winning end, and we don't really ever hear about them, and sometimes you win the World Series, and that's all that people talk about. And he was filthy. They got to look at him, but right now their focus is just on the guy today, and that's Glasnow.
Piggybacking on that impressive performance from Yamamoto, how significant is it that the Jays didn't get a look at any of the relievers? Like he goes 9 innings, and now you're not gassing your bullpen. Jays aren't getting looks at guys. How significant is that?
It's a little bit, yeah. I get that, and especially because the game one you won it handily, so you didn't see the high leverage guys in that situation. So these are going to be first looks you get on guys that come in that you haven't maybe necessarily seen this year or seen in a while, or maybe didn't see it all during the season. So yeah, it can have an effect, but also you got to remember those relievers aren't pitching. They haven't pitched much in the past 10 days. So are they a little rusty? Is there command issues? Does the ball leak over the middle of the plate because you're throwing through a sinker? So there's a lot of questions there too. But yeah, definitely, can have a little bit of an advantage to the pitcher when you haven't seen them. But that can change really quickly with, a lack of location, unexecuted pitch, against a really good lineup like the Jays.
With Ryan Dempster, who do you think will have a bigger impact on the rest of the series? Shohei Ohtani or Vladdy Guerrero Jr.?
Oh, that's a good call. I'm going to say Vladdy Jr. I think Vladdy has a big moment tonight. I think that this guy has just been so locked in. I mean, you see his outs. They're rockets, dude. Game one, he lines out to left field on a pitch to the shortstop, almost jumped for it. The ball's flying like that. Then he hits a rocket on the ground, yesterday. Like, his outs are hard. He's dialed in on everything, Yeah, sure, did he strike out against Yamamoto? Cool. Not the only guy on the team. Lots of guys did. But, this guy is, I think, more important to the Blue Jays offense than Ohtani is to the Dodgers offense, even though you're talking about Ohtani. I think it's vital for the Blue Jays to win that Vlad continues to swing the bat the way he has.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing that play out tonight. I can tell you that up here in Toronto, and I expect the same thing the way Vladdy's been so dialed in the whole month. It's going to be a great Game 3 tonight. You'll be all over it. Enjoy Dodger Stadium. We always appreciate you finding time for us. Thank you, Ryan.
Absolutely, guys. Hopefully we see you back in Toronto in a few days.
You got it. There's Ryan Dempster joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Get in and go where adventures take you in a new 2025 Tacoma from Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland in the Maple Auto Mall. Visit mapletoyota.com. The "We Don't Need You" chants were ringing out. Game 1, big time. We're raining down on Ohtani.
Dangerous chant.
Game 2, pretty quiet. There were a couple scattered chants. When it was 1-1, people were getting bold again. By the end of the game, it was pretty quiet. But
Dude, that guy puts the fear of God in me when he's up to bat. He just looks like, I don't know if it's like Pujols with that stance where you're like, this is not good. He's just got something about him.
yeah,
Like, do you remember the way Albert Pujols used to stand up there like he was just a big man, and you're like, that guy's got a stance where if he makes contact, this thing's going out of the universe.
Ohtani's he's had a couple swings where he's like swinging out of his shoes, man. Like literally doing almost like a 360. They clipped it once. They clipped it once on Twitter. Fox, I think, had it.
He wants the mash, and he's just
Yeah.
got to look to his setup where it's just like, you miss a pitch, that guy's capitalizing. There's just no other way around it.
yeah. Between him and Vladdy, it's the same thing. Like, Vladdy is so dialed in, man. You can just feel it. Like, he's got so much confidence. And what makes Ohtani incredible is that he's permanently confident. Like, it never stopped. Like his so-called, cold streak is like a 10 at bats, and then he gets dialed back in. It's amazing. And you're right, Ohtani's got that feel. Judge has it now. Pujols used to. Bonds had it when he was dialed in, and he was just standing. He was basically on the plate, Bonds. Yeah. Like, he'd have that big arm and the big, like, elbow pad.
Elbow brace.
Yeah, the elbow brace, and you just knew something bad was coming. And that's Ohtani. But I think, what Dempster said is accurate. Like, if the Jays are going to get this done, Vladdy's got to continue to be cooking at the level he's been for the previous 2 series.
There's no margin for him.
man.
There's no room for him to disappear for a couple games at all.
There's
Exactly.
no sign of it happening, really, though. Like, Vladdy's been awesome. Like, he's had multiple huge hits. I love how engaged he is with his teammates. Like, every time he comes through with a big hit, staring right at the dugout, vamos. Like, he's led by example. And I don't think you could say that in years past.
I like it, Frankie, because if the Yankees teams that were winning all those championships, Derek Jeter was always the guy at the top of the step. Like, he'd greet everybody when they came home, hit a home run, scored or whatever. It would always be Jeter. That's what Vladdy's doing now. He's got the home run jacket. He greets everybody. It's just, it looks like leadership. But, Hayes, I wanted to ask you, I know Ryan talked about Bo kind of, it seemed like he was being a little bit politically correct, but what do you see from Bo Bichette? Like, can he contribute to this series? Because I honestly, I worry about what he's like. People are talking about him fighting off that little squibbler that went to right field, and it was like, okay, you got a hit, but I don't know, man.
No, I would say he's at 60%, 65%. Like, I saw him walking around. Everyone sees him walking around. He doesn't look comfortable. Like, he's not comfortable. He can't
60
be
looks
comfortable.
sounds a lot.
It might be. It might be. I would have to believe if it's under 50, he's not playing.
Yeah.
But, second base, I think he's handled it well. He hasn't had a ton of action, but he's handled it well. Like, some people were questioning whether or not he turned the double play properly the other night. I don't think that was on him. It's a really difficult double play to pull off. I don't think Jimenez, really was in was in a hurry to turn it either. So I think I'm comfortable with him for the most part at second base. Although you're going to hold your breath on that front throughout the rest of the series. What's he going to look like? Can he get to balls? Can he, do what he's got to do? But I think to your point, is he going to be dialed in with the bat in his hand, right? Because you can live with a guy that's a little bit slow. You can live with that. You can live with a guy that may not be 100% comfortable in the field, but the reason you're playing him is so that he can be explosive offensively, right? That's why you're playing him. Because if he's not, then you might as well have Connor Falefa out there because he'll give you more at second base, right? And he might be willing to do things that Bo's not willing to do. He might lay a bunt down for you. He might, might protect Vladdy differently if you have someone hitting fourth as opposed to Bichette. So these are all things they're thinking through. I'll believe it when I see it that he plays every game the rest of the series. I'm not convinced that's going to happen. But it's definitely a pretty significant story, and he's got the chance to do something legendary. One big hit on one leg is in the World Series, man. Kirk Gibson vibes.
It's Bobby Bond, man.
In that
Bobby
stadium,
Bond scoring
man.
the goal.
Yep, exactly. And he remember he hit 2 home runs off Kershaw his rookie season at Dodger Stadium. He likes L.A. I feel like Hollywood's going to be a good scene for him.
I like it. I like to hear it because I'm concerned. I'm not going to lie. I'm concerned about him, and I'm concerned about Scherzer.
The bow tie just brings out so much positivity.
I'm an optimistic guy. I always have been.
Yeah.
We're going to come back
I'm
and
not
talk
trying
about
to
the
sound
Leafs.
like a smartass or like make fun. You look like Kenny Rowe.
You think so?
Kenny Rosenthal. I like it. Hazenthal is a thing, man.
Hazenthal. I might have to get into the bow tie game. Like it's such a different lifestyle when you become bow tie.
Throw
guy.
out a poll and just see what the vibe is. Should he stick with it and that be his thing? For when you go down and you do Raps, Leafs, Jays, whatever, and it could take off, man. You could become legendary.
Yeah, you could get side deals, sponsorships, all kinds of stuff.
Whole
I could
nine.
see a walking stick in your future.
Nine.
Really?
Like this is Hazy B, Hazenthal with the walking stick and the bow tie. Why not? It goes great together.
Those are not lucrative industries. I hate to break it to you. There's no bow tie, lobby out there that is dying to spend Ben Verlander money on me. Because this Verlander, there's no way.
Dude, he just said I woke up today in L.A. and I'm dying for a Caesar. It's like, really?
Dude,
Are you?
This has to be
Unless you're a
paid promotion.
certified P-tank, you're not dying for a Caesar when you wake up.
No.
What no one has clued him in on is that when the sun is down, you're not drinking a Caesar. Caesar is 11 a.m. working off a hangover. That's when you have a Caesar.
Well, exactly.
It's not
and
a
that's
nighttime
another
drink.
important element that I'm not sure he's aware of. It's generally almost exclusively a hangover drink. Like, it's not usually what people are starting their party with.
No, but dude, he loved it. He's like, first time I tried a Caesar, somebody gave him some cash.
Something's going on here. We got to get Pablo Torre on that. All right, Luke Wilson in about 15 minutes. We'll get back into the Leafs as well in terms of their weekend and their look ahead. They got Calgary in town tomorrow night. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Luke's coming up. He's going to try to explain himself because it's ugly. Bro and Wilson, Hayes and Bro are on the verge of an immaculate week. If we can pick a winner tonight, that is a perfect week for Hayes and Bro.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of optimism, a lot of bow tie vibes going on here, and the Leafs, I'd say they saved themselves on Saturday. Man, Dakota Joshua ties the game up in the third. Tavares took off, to his credit, man. At 35, he was burning down the ice. And
I'll give him a ton of credit for that one because when I saw what was going to happen there, and I'm like, there's no way he's getting any separation at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, Tates Thompson is going to take 2 strides and get to him. But I don't know. They need to – I know they got the win and they feel like they kind of turned it around against Buffalo. But, guys, if you look at the schedule the Leafs have had to start the season, like, we're going into Game 10 – I don't know. They got some serious work to do. They should be feeling good about themselves after Johnny T does that, but there's a lot of getting outplayed, and there's a lot of time in their own zone. Like Buffalo the other night were playing like the 96 Penguinos or the 86 Oilers, and you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. There's some concerning stuff with the team, and you know what that Tavares goal does? It makes going to the rink today much more enjoyable after the day off Sunday, because if they lost both of those games in a row with what's happening in their own zone, with what's happening, not being able to defend the rush, and the Sabres are zipping it across the ice, Thompson's putting it in the back of the net. Like
the Sabres?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't played – like the New Jersey game is the one that should be the eye-opener for everyone. Like, wait till you start playing Florida and Tampa and Carolina, and you got to play some of the wagons around the league, man. I don't know. They've got some time, but not really. Like, they've got to figure it out. They are leaky defensively right now.
And listen, it's still right there for them to have a pretty decent start. You got Calgary tomorrow and Columbus the next night. These are not powerhouse teams. Calgary's been a mess, man. So, you got to win tomorrow night. You have to. You have to beat Calgary at home. And then Columbus, same thing. So, you can get to 6-4-1 and spin it in a way, because I believe they started last season 4-4-1, the same thing. And we do this every single year. Now, does it feel different? Possibly.
It does, man.
It does, because defensively they're struggling. They're dealing with injuries. And the reality is they're a year older. You know, like every year you just get older and you get closer to it not being as easy for you, or being able to rely on them getting back on the bike and starting to cycle again properly is not as realistic as it once was, because they're not a young team. And yes, you know, Marner's not here, and he's not coming back. But I look at this. Joseph Wall skated today. I don't know when he's going to return. It doesn't sound like it's going to happen anytime soon. I don't believe in the next week or week and a half.
He can only do so much for a guy that hasn't played, and he's going to play sparingly. And just another point, Hayes, I found the Stolar stuff to be a little bit bizarre.
That
Like
he didn't back
icing
up, you mean, on Saturday?
Whatever it was on Friday after the game, it was reported that he was heavily icing his knees, and it was like they just needed to get him a break. And I'm like, man, this is just – I found the whole thing to be bizarre.
Dude,
I
you know,
agree with you.
you know
I agree.
who
Even
had,
Berube's comments where he wouldn't assess his play until
Yeah,
he
I need to
spoke
talk
with
to him. It's like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? You were the
Yeah.
coach. You watched him in the net. Like, what's
Right.
your assessment?
Exactly.
That's a nice way of saying he didn't play very well, but I don't want to say it right now, and we'll let it simmer. You know who ices their knees very heavily after games? Goalies that are 36. You know what I mean? Like that is concerning that Stolarz is having to do that, but that's the reality given how much he's played.
Yeah, but you know, everyone plays a lot. We're in October, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it'd be different if it was in February and he's played, 50 games already or something.
Ice the whole body.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's October, Wall's not here, you just got paid, you're the number one guy, and maybe the symbolism doesn't matter, and maybe just giving him a full day to breathe is in the best interest of the team, and if it is, so be it, you do it. But it wouldn't be as much of an eye-opener if he didn't say what he said a week ago, where he calls out the team, which I was fine with. I'm not changing my mind on that. But then, a few days later, you can't strap on the pads and back up and be on the bench with the guys. That, to me, is a little bit strange. But listen, Stolarz, he's got to go. He's going to play tomorrow, I would presume, and then Primo's going to play, and at some point Wall's going to return. But there's no guarantees what Wall's going to play like. It's not easy to miss camp. He's missed camp in the first month of the year. Who knows what his season is going to look like? It's very difficult to predict.
Very.
So the pressure is going to be on Stolarz. He's aware of it. I think the team's aware of it. But Stolarz is going to have to pull his weight here. And he's had a decent start, but compared to the way he started last year, it hasn't been anywhere close.
Not even close.
To the way he was
Guys.
playing in the past. No.
How about those New York Rangers going out to Calgary? They needed a win, too, and
They
they
got
got
pumped.
absolutely spanked by the
Pumped.
Calgary Flames.
Yeah, they're in trouble. And they're in Vancouver now. You got JT Miller going back. All right, more on that into the next hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
This is Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Game 3 of the World Series tonight. We'll get to Something to Chew On, brought to you by Boston Pizza later in the hour on the Max Scherzer start tonight. And Glasnow going for the Dodgers, and it's going to be an electric evening. We'll see how many Blue Jay fans show up. I was, I guess, not surprised, but I didn't see a lot of Dodger fans down there. Like, there were not a lot of Dodger fans.
Not large portions, anyway.
No. And it's a long flight. I get it. The Dodgers go to the World Series every year. There's probably World Series fatigue.
Yeah. How many World Series have they been to in the last, 10 years? Is it 5?
Yeah, it's close to that, right? They were there in 17. They've won a couple, and they were there in 17. I'd say at least 4. We can look that up, but it's at least 4 in the last decade.
I think the Red Sox got them once. I think the Astros might have got them once.
They did. That was the controversial year in 17. And that's when Springer won the MVP. And George is walking into one in L.A. Like, they hate George Springer in L.A. Anyone associated with that Astros team, they do not like.
Well, I saw a tweet today. I don't know who the hell was trying to cause a problem, but it was like a zoom in on his arm, and they're like, "Why is this guy wearing an Apple Watch when he's batting?" And it shows like an Apple Watch, and I was like, "Oh God, here we go."
Well,
Wait a second. He wears an Apple Watch? You sure it's not one of those like Whoop or the fitness tracker?
Dude,
things?
the way that you can doctor a video, I don't believe anything these days, but
Yeah.
it was like his undershirt, his tight blue shirt, they were like, "That's an Apple Watch," and then they zoomed in, and you could see some type of device, but it was, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because every fan base has been such a loser because the Jays are torching teams.
Yeah.
And the reaction is they're cheating. They have to be cheating. And it's funny, no one was cheating against Yamamoto the other night. All of a sudden, the Jays decided we're going to take a night off, right? We're going to actually not cheat tonight. And then that doesn't come up, right? All of a sudden, it's not, hey, Yamamoto's cheating. The Dodgers are cheating. You just tip your hat and appreciate it. And it speaks to how little fanfare the Jays have and how, how much, lack of attention is on the Blue Jays, which I understand. They don't play national games down in the States. They're the only Canadian team. They haven't been in the World Series in 32 years.
Yeah. So what are you saying? People are saying all these guys hit everything, so they're cheating?
Well, because, if you haven't been following this team this year, you look and be like, who is Nathan Lucas?
Yeah.
If you're in the States and you're not watching the Jays, you don't know who that guy
Clement.
is. Who's Ernie Clement? Ernie Clement.
Addison Barger.
And Addison Barger. They get on base. Clement is on base every time he comes up. He registers a hit.
Dude, he's
Barger,
a $20 million player. I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell his contract is. It's probably peanuts, but like that guy plays like a $20 million player.
He's a machine. He
Dude,
has
even
been
in the
so
field,
good.
he's dynamite. I love the guy.
Yes.
Like every time I watched him this year, I'm like, this guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
If you smell what the
Win Wilson.
is
about
cooking.
this
Bad segment. The anti-Ernie Clement.
So first and foremost,
Parts. We need
guys, that
a
was one of the most
player.
homer takes of all time.
What?
George
What was?
Springer is a notorious MLB cheater. He was on the Astros team, is marred by cheating scandal. And you guys would be like, we don't know why people are saying he's.
Oh, I get why they hate him.
He was on the team that cheated.
Parts.
Okay.
Take it back, you bastard.
In
And
17
you picked
he
the
was.
Mariners in the last series, too. We are in a fight, and we have serious
We can
problems
take it back, but
internally.
don't sit here and be like, I don't know why everyone thinks the Jays are cheating. They have a notorious guy.
All right, they
who
got
came
one
from
guy. They got one guy who's an affiliate.
And I'm
he
not.
was
I don't
affiliated.
think the Jays are cheating, but I get why the curmudgeons on the internet are trying to point that angle.
It is documented that George Springer did not partake in any of the monkey business.
man of
documented.
integrity.
Yeah.
Man of integrity.
Again, I don't think the Jays are cheating whatsoever. I'm enjoying it's a historical run they're on. I think they got a legitimate shot tonight, but
Parts, what about the run we're on?
it's not great. It's certainly not great. But
Is it like Pitt's unis last night?
Pitts unis were the worst thing I've ever seen. I think the most heinous part of it was the fact that the numbers were different colors. So the numbers on the front were white and on the back were black. But it's not as heinous as Hayes' bow tie right now. I can't get over
this
it.
thing's
Nah,
elite,
come on,
man.
I can't
It's
get over it.
immaculate. It's beautiful.
This is elite, man.
I
This is
don't know.
custom. This is
Elite.
custom, dude.
Is it
this was
Buster
flown
Olney?
in.
Is Buster Olney the big? Who's the baseball guy? that
Ken
wears-
Rosenthal.
Ken Rosenthal. That's it.
Hazenthal.
He's
They call me
Hazenthal.
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 Hazenthal. Bruce Garriock rocks it too. Brucey just sent me a note. Said you look phenomenal.
Yeah, I
Dude,
like
Brucey
that.
loves a
did
bow
it.
tie. He's right by the set in Ottawa with his little table, and he's got the bow tie on.
Yeah.
And he's a big deal over there, Brucey.
Bruce loves a bow
He
tie.
did not send you a note. Take that back.
He did. He sent a note in. He said it looks great. That's an accurate statement because he was calling me out last week because he said I said if the Jays made it to the World Series I'd wear a bow tie. I don't even know why I said it. It was such a stupid, dumb conversation we were having that had nothing to do with anything, and I blurted it out. And naturally, our fan base will not stop it. They're all over me about wearing the bow tie. You got to wear the bow tie. If you're not, you're a fraud. If not, you blah blah blah. So I said, all right, I'm wearing the bow tie.
He's a
And I
man
got
of
it
the
flown
people.
in custom. It looks phenomenal. Straight
Man
from
of
Paris.
his word. Luke, what would you rather wear, that Steelers uni or Hayes' bow tie?
Hayes' bow
given the
tie. I'll
option?
be honest. Hayes'
Thank
bow
you.
tie.
Thank you.
That
Those unis
Steelers-
were so horrendous.
And what got weird about it was the helmet. First off, what was unfortunate is the Steelers have one of the most iconic uniforms to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Steelers uniform, I think is one of the coolest logos. The helmet, the whole ensemble. So you go away from that, and then like the helmet was kind of modern. It was like a matte yellow helmet into this like just gross looking childish design of a jersey with different color numbers. It was brutal. As was the second half.
Yeah.
You backing off the Steelers parts, the shine coming off of them?
The shine's coming off for sure. The defense has been what's been unfortunate about them is that you kind of thought it might be Aaron eventually, and I didn't think Aaron played great yesterday, but he wasn't brutal. The defense for 2 weeks in a row has been atrocious. And it's just such a strange one because, you talk to any Steelers fan, the last few years, it's been, man, our defense makes a lot of plays, they create turnovers, do a lot of good things, keep us in games, but we've got Kenny Pickett at the helm, we've got Mason Rudolph at the helm, we have Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. And Aaron's, playing at a decent level, obviously not MVP level, but he's doing okay. And it's just the defense can't stop anybody. Not creating turnovers, not doing anything. Tough to watch, really.
Doesn't it feel like with Tomlin, there's half the fan base that Tomlin is a legend and can do no wrong, and there's some people that basically say, like, this guy stifles offense no matter who's there, and we're always going to be a team that's like 1 or 2 games above 500. Like, I don't know. What's the correct read on Mike Tomlin, and is there a certain ceiling that the team can only hit with him being the head coach?
Frankie, I think the tough part with Tomlin is that for the last X amount of years, they've been very stagnant. And that's one of those things where you're like, man, we're grateful that we're in the conversation every year. We're grateful that we're in the playoffs or on the cusp of the playoffs. But at any point in the recent future, have you ever sat there and been like, man, this Pittsburgh Steelers team is going to be real dangerous in the playoffs? If the playoffs start tomorrow, they win the division. And I think most of us on our card would be like, they're going to get absolutely waxed in the first round of the playoffs, the way they played the last few weeks. So I do think that Tomlin is on a bit of a hotter seat than what most people would think. And again, I point the finger at the defense this year. If the defense was playing at a better level, they don't need to be an unbelievable unit. But if they're playing at a better level, they've probably got this division wrapped up with a bow on it. But now they've let everybody back in, including the Ravens, because the Bengals puked all over themselves. Granted, it was a tough Packers team, but a game you would have liked the Steelers to win. So, and now you look and Lamar's allegedly coming back. We'll see how that whole thing plays out. But they're only 2 games back of the division lead. And everyone is in shambles.
Well, conversely, the team on the other side of the field last night, frustrating first half, yet the second half was an absolute clinic. Offense on both sides of the ball. I thought that Parsons sack early in the third quarter basically set the tone for what was going to happen the rest of the game on a Pittsburgh offensive side of things. But having Watson back is big because he can burn. They've got guys who can take the top off the defense, and as a result, Tucker Kraft, man, he runs routes, catches everything, and he puts up numbers. And I still don't think they have a true bona fide number 1 receiver. I don't trust Watson. He's hurt all the time. Golden didn't get many touches last night. Dobbs is okay, but he's not a superstar. But I'll say this, man, Jordan Love, man, was that efficient last night. He was slinging the pill last night.
And very accurate.
Very accurate. He never throws picks, man.
Yeah, and honestly, his off-schedule stuff I thought was pretty phenomenal as well.
Where's he in your MVP ballot halfway through the year? Where's Jordan Love?
5th, 6th. Halfway through the year, if you want my honest ranking at this point, now you guys are going to shred me for this.
Drake May,
Drake May's 2 for me.
Coming out the
Drake
chute.
May's 2.
Wow.
And I know who's first.
Jonathan
Indiana
Taylor.
Jones.
Jonathan Taylor.
Taylor
Where's
over
Indiana Jones? Is he in there?
He's probably 3 or 4. Bakey's in there, but Baker's kind of had a couple of rough 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing, Parts. Indiana Jones, if you look at that team, the best record in football right now, but who's the most valuable player in that team? It's you can't not say that it's Jonathan Taylor. He's on pace for a historic season right now.
So it's Saquon 2.0.
His numbers look like they're going to be better than Saquon's last year, including way more touchdowns. Now, part of that was because of the tush push and all Jalen Hurts stealing kind of some of the thunder. But you look at Taylor right now, I think he's got 12 rushing, 2 receiving. He's at 850 rush yards through 8 games. This guy's on pace to break all the records known to mankind here.
But Parts, I just got one quick question for you, and I know we've done this probably 5 times, but what is Dable and the boys, when they're in the coach's room eating wings and having beers and stuff, do they not look at that guy and say, how did we butcher Indiana Jones? Like, or
And
what do they
Saquon.
say?
And Saquon. They had
Oh,
both of
well,
them.
Saquon's a whole different story, but we carved Danny Dimes for years, Hayes.
Carved.
Yes, you're right.
And
Carved.
rightfully so. Rightfully
Yeah.
so. And to me, beyond what happens with Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart right now is making a lot of plays off schedule. But parts, the Danny Dimes thing in itself is the
Bizarre
biggest
world.
indictment on Dable known to mankind. And I would say what makes it that is not so much that even Danny Dimes is playing at an MVP clip, but it's the fact that he was horrid. If Danny Dimes was okay in the Giants organization, they're like, oh, this guy's okay, but we're looking for someone to get us over the hump. But it was like he was brutal there. We all thought like his career was over. He's going to maybe play a couple of years of backup and be done. He goes and beats out Anthony Richardson, which obviously is not maybe the toughest thing to do. Maybe it is. We don't know. And is now arguably, the best quarterback in the league through 8 weeks. Now, it does help with Jonathan Taylor, but it is a huge indictment on Dable.
Yeah, and that, there's certain teams that always screw it up. The New York teams do it. Cleveland does it.
Cleveland's a big one.
Chicago. I can tell you there's teams that are circling Caleb Williams saying, please cut him. Cut him in 2 years. We'll take him, and we'll see if we can make it work. I don't know if he'll find it, but that's where I'm reluctant to jump on Williams, that he's a bust, he's the problem, when this is what Chicago does. Like, this is what they do. It doesn't matter who their coach is. It doesn't matter how many wide receivers they get or which tight end they pick. They draft a tight end every single year in the draft. Oh, we got new linemen this year, and we brought in a pass rush. It doesn't matter. They can't do it.
It is.
They cannot do it.
Chicago is very bizarre because on paper that team is loaded.
Yes.
You bring in Loveland. You got Odunze from last year. DJ Moore to me is still a premier guy. Swift in the backfield is, let's call it, top 10, top 12 runner.
Putting up decent numbers this year. Pretty
it's
good.
Like, what is the problem? Last year, the defense was great. Like you said, they got the pass rusher there. And it's like, how do you come out and, again, that was a game, obviously, we lost, and I'm gonna take my licks here in a sec. But I'm watching it, and everyone, literally everyone, has been destroying the Ravens defense.
Yes.
I'm watching this game and I'm going, this isn't even close. We were lucky to even have a sweat at the end with a 7.5 spread. That game should have been 21-0.
That game as like a throwaway game where you're like, you don't even have to worry about it. Like
don't even have to. I'm like, yo, this is a set. They're giving us 7.5 points. I took 7.5 with Lamar potentially playing.
Right. And Doogie almost did everything he could for you guys, and we'll get to that in a moment. But before we bring in Al's brother, who is clairvoyant right now. This guy is seeing the board. He's got
seeing the
40,
board.
40
you saved
vision.
him. You saved him.
One game. It wasn't a save. It was a gut instinct that's why we're such a great team right now. But this Drake May story, I think, is a lot of people down in Buffalo. Because Ed Oliver, that's big, man. If he's done for the year, that's huge.
Doesn't
for the
look
Bills.
good. Doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good that Oliver could be done. May, I keep waiting for him to kind of come back to reality a little bit. The Pats have such a soft schedule. Like, they've got such a layup schedule.
Yes.
The Jets obviously stink. Miami stinks. It's a two-horse race. I would still handicap it as Buffalo the favorite to win that division, but it is close to a coin flip right now. Where do you stand on that race?
I would lean Patriots, to be honest, but it's very, very tight. I have a lot of respect for what Vrabel's doing over there. You said it. Drake May he's potentially the MVP, and he might win the MVP.
What's the biggest factor? Is it the step Drake May took or the coach?
I think
both connected.
I think it's connected, but you can have a great coach. I think it's the step. If I had to lean on one, I would say Drake May. Again, that was even yesterday. Not an easy defense to go against. Took him a little bit to get going, the whole unit. And all of a sudden, they're ripping around. And Vrabel is a defensive guy. He's going to have that unit playing tough defense. They're going to be a hard team to beat week in and week out. And I do like the weapons offensively. Are they my favorite unit in the league? No. But Diggs has certainly turned back the clock. He's looked very good. There's been moments, especially against the Bills a couple weeks back, where he's looked incredible. They're two tight ends. It doesn't get much better than that. They got Hooper as the backup and Hunter Henry. They don't use him a ton, but still, I would say a premier pass-catching guy. And then they've got kind of a crew of guys that are playing fundamentally sound. somewhat of the Patriots of old here, you know.
And McDaniels is still running the offense there, right?
And it looks very, very smooth. Again, I tipped my cap yesterday to the Bills, not trying to take anything away from them. And, you know, the Hoyt, obviously the Canadian guy coming off the suspension, looked great. But you said it, you take Ed Oliver out of this defense, and it's a problem. The defense is not a strong suit to begin with. We'll see what the official injury designation for Oliver is, but I get very worried when it's a bicep and you can't come back. Generally not good. Mm-hmm. So now you look at it, and even yesterday, the O-line, both tight ends, or really all three tight ends, but Kincaid's not as heavily involved in the run stuff. But they shredded Carolina on the ground. Wildly impressive. But do I think that they're going to walk in and shred Kansas City on the ground, you know, if they got it in a couple weeks here? I don't. You know, I think they'll be able to run a bit, but not like yesterday. That was a career day for everybody. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden you go into this situation where it's like, hey, we need guys to get open, or everybody eats, or whatever you want to call it. And like Keon Coleman was, you know, another day where he's kind of you didn't really exist out there for very much of the game. Couple catches in the second half, excuse me. Kincaid didn't have a great one. Shakir's been kind of their safety blanket, but who's the guy they rely on? And the reality is, if the Bills want to make a run, it's the same thing we've been saying for the last 5 years. Josh has got to be Superman, which he can be. You know, he's electric. The guy's one of the best players of all time right now, okay? But talent-wise, but it's just not my favorite way to go into games, basically saying, hey, our defense is thin. It's not an elite unit. Our wide receivers are not an elite unit. But we've got Josh, and if Josh plays out of his mind, we'll beat the heck out of anyone. It's like, again, you would figure they would address some of the stuff in the offseason, but clearly they did. They went a different way.
Brother, it's great to see you. It's great to see you. Look at that tune we're getting. Call me out.
Major League?
What the hell are you wearing, man?
He's got a white bow tie.
What do you mean?
Dude,
we got a bow tie on.
Is
Me
that
and
a piece of?
Partsy.
Is that the farfalle pasta you got there? You stuck it to your shirt.
This was sent to me by one of our whale pals from Shanghai. Singapore is not just calling now. Shanghai has entered the chat. Sent me a nice bow tie to wear on air today.
I'm glad you're fielding those calls. I can only take it from so many places. I got a call from Brazil earlier today. I said, guys, stop it. We're not doing it. We're not going anywhere. We're wearing bow ties. We stick together. You look phenomenal, House brother. Phenomenal.
Me? Look at you. You got the whole setup, Partsy.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look good, play good, feel good. You know what I mean?
That's right.
What's the saying, little Deion Sanders? I mean, we are looking real good right now, Hazy B. Oh, we're up by a touchdown.
Let's
go.
By a touchdown. And we have the chance at the first immaculate week in a long time.
Just make the pick and end this. No one cares anymore. Like, people are getting tired of you guys.
It's kind of disturbing, Alice, brother, the way these two losers are kind of operating. Like, they're really, really bad attitudes on the two of them.
They called a players-only meeting yesterday after the loss. I mean, how'd that go, fellas?
Well, the reality is here, this is a situation. It's 7, could be 8, could be 6 by the end of the night. You know what week it is, Alice, bro? Do you know what week it is in the NFL?
Week 8.
Week 8. You know how many weeks there are?
Lots of weeks.
Lots of weeks, my friend. We're not even halfway through the year.
Okay.
Let's say we're down 8. We got 9 weeks to go after this. We got to pull back parts. We got to pull back 1 per week, and you don't think they're going to puke all over themselves? This is a complete fluke. I want to put this on the table right now. It's 5:20. What is it? The 20? What day is it today, guys?
27th. Yeah. October.
This will be the biggest collapse.
The charcuterie dump.
Or the charcuterie dump is about to start. Whether it's tonight or whether it's next week,
Amen,
you guys are going to collapse.
All right.
And we're coming. I got to lock it in. I got to own it.
Go ahead and you can respond on behalf of
Now, Joe
Team
from the
Hayes
Bridge is the enemy. I will be honest. That whole shenanigan on Friday, I'm locked and loaded.
Doogie Patel.
Can't hear anything. I'm like, I can hear you fine. Joe's like, I can't hear anything. I'm like, what's going on here, Joe? Then Hayes kicks us off the show. I'm ready to go 4 minutes later. Just text the picks in.
Well, I do think that we would have talked you out of some of those brutal picks.
Picks.
Well, they were terrible picks. I mean, obviously, the Steelers against Green Bay and under the lights,
awful.
There was no way the Packers weren't winning big last night.
Come on, you're getting
there
at
was
half.
no
You were thinking
way
that
Green
way.
Bay.
At half, you were thinking that way.
And furthermore, and this is where I take issue with Doogie, putting the Ravens-Bears game on the line without any understanding of who was playing quarterback was Doogie Patel trying to do his best to raid the two of us.
I disagree. I think what happened was once it came out, the NFL rigged the game so that's why it covered the original spread.
It went the opposite way.
Nonsense.
There is some conspiracy theories out there right now. That's not what we're hearing, right, Al's brother out of Vegas? When we talked to Wales in Vegas, that's not what they're hearing.
Don't lose this one, boys, because we'll get the Thursday nighter. I feel great about the Thursday nighter.
The
coming
only
up, and this will be
possibility
fine, quick.
for us to take our foot off the gas is if we get distracted, Al's brother, because we're getting invited to all these events. We have, again, Wales from coast to coast to coast trying to fly us in. And we get too big for our britches. We don't want that, and we won't do that, right? We're too humble gentlemen. We look good. We feel good. Let's make a pick. What is the line at right now? Is it Chiefs minus 10.5 on FanDuel? 10.5. Chiefs laying 10.5 against the Washington Commanders. Al's brother, take the floor. Where's your head out here?
It's a large spread, Hazy B, and favorites are only 1-6 against the spread this season when favored by more than a touchdown. However, that one cover was by the Kansas City Chiefs last week against the Vegas Raiders. And when you look at what this offense has done recently, that Mahomes magic seems to be back. He's the MVP frontrunner over on FanDuel. Rashee Rice back in the fold, second week back into the offense.
Dude, he's reading this off a script. He's reading off a script. Look at his eyes.
32 points a week they're averaging. I got tons of stats for you here, boys. The Commanders, their defense been utter trash. They're giving up over 6 yards per play and dead last in yards per completion. You look at Mahomes. What does he do? Pass the ball, pass the rock. He's going to attack it downfield. This offense is going to put up points, and I don't see the Commanders possibly staying close without Jaden Daniels, who's out. Marcus Mariota, he can't put up 20 points with this offense against that defense. No shot. I see this. I see the Chiefs blowing them out. They're 3-0 against the spread at home. Washington 1-3 on the road. It's a big number, but I think we rock with Mahomes and company and lay the points here, AZB.
It's a big number. It's a very big number, man. It's a number that makes me uncomfortable, and it feels as if money's going towards Washington here with the spread dropping. But I have an inkling that you're onto something else, brother. I have an inkling that you're onto something because, I'm worried. This Dan Quinn, man, the book's out on your boy Quinn.
He's got to turn his hat around.
He's got to turn the hat around. But Andy Reid, if so, he'll bring out his face mask and he'll take you flashback.
Parts, I actually kind of like this, man. Dan Quinn's a guy. He's a big rally guy, big motivational guy.
But he's staring at Marcus Mariota, man.
That's fair, but when
what's Mariota?
When it's a 17-point game and they've got the ball back with Mariota with a $1.30 to play, don't think Dan Quinn's taking his foot off the gas, boys.
Okay, backdoor cover for Mariota and Quinn. That's possible tonight. But I'll tell you what, down in Washington, before we lock this in, they're starting to freak out because of the RG3 Daniels comparisons. You see Jaden's mom jumping on Twitter and kind of snapping about that because RJ and Jaden, that first year was unreal. The second year it fell off a cliff and injuries started piling up and the team stunk. And I think it's unfair to Daniels to believe that comparison, but man, they're jaded down in Washington.
That's only because of the market, man. Because if he was playing anywhere else, no one would pull that comparison. It's just they've seen the history lesson on that before. There's
absolutely
too much scar tissue.
They're on edge down there in Washington all the time, and it's too bad because Daniels was so great, but he just hasn't been able to play enough this year. All right, Al's brother, you and I, we ride. We ride from Toronto to Singapore and everywhere in between. We're taking
whales and cheetahs.
Parts. Let's start tonight. We'll claw our way back. There's no quit here.
Or cheaters. Chauncey Hayes and Terry Roziel's brother.
Look at
Terry Roziel's brother.
These bozos with the bow tie. One's made out of white paper, and the other one, I don't know where he found it. It's embarrassing.
Parts.
We're on the comeback trail. Let's go.
It starts tonight.
This is the finest China fabric on the market.
By the way, real quick,
Shanghai.
Al's bro, I just got a message. Al's bro stat is wrong. The Colts were minus 14 yesterday and covered. Let's go, baby. He's got bad info. Let's end the segment. This guy's info is trash.
This is
it's
my
the beginning.
concern, man.
Let's go.
We took our eye off the ball because Shanghai's calling now.
So now you're going to read a script that doesn't have real info? This guy's fake news.
Now we're getting
What are we talking about? That means that teams later in the season are favoring far more often.
You said one team has done it, and it's been the Chiefs. Clearly, you don't know what you're talking about.
Prior to last week, they were 0-6. Now it's 2-0.
It's not last week. It's this
teams
week.
favored by a touchdown.
This week, baby. Let's go.
Trending
right,
in
like
our
yesterday.
direction.
Let's go.
Trending in our direction. I'm getting a call from London right now. England. I got to take this. This
Big
is a serious whale over there. Al's brother, I'll let you know what he offers us. I'm sure it's going to be something
good,
significant. All right, boys. Best of luck tonight. Not that we need it, Al's brother. You look great, feel great, play great, make picks great. I could go on and on and on. Al's brother, Hayes and Bro, we're on the Chiefs tonight laying the points. There we go. Al's brother and Luke Wilson.
Dude, that piece of farfalle pasta is going right in the pot right now. He's got the water going. He's gonna drop it in. He's making
He'll just dip
pasta.
He'll just dip it and chow it.
Last one. There you go.
Yep.
Dinner served. Yeah.
All right. Game 3 of the World Series. We'll come back with our best bet still to come. We've got something to chew on brought to you by Boston Pizza. And we've got a sports equinox tonight. There's a lot going on, including the Raptors down in San Antonio playing Wemby. Not the time for it, considering they got beat up against Dallas. They lost to Milwaukee a few nights ago. Great start. Darko was going crazy. It's been ugly the last 2 games. So they got to get off of this and get cooking. But Wemby, his first 3 games are absurd. Go take a look at his stat lines, 3 straight games. They're insane. Insane, the numbers this guy's putting up. So we got a lot to chew on for this evening. We'll get to that and more next.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Something to chew on brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. So fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. Asking people online, do you think Max Scherzer will pitch into the 5th inning tonight? And it is a very close vote, almost split. And the last time he was on the mound, we asked a similar question. I think all of us collectively said no. He did. He went deeper than that. I'm going to go positive with the bow tie. I think he's got rest again. I think it's the World Series. I think the energy is going to be crazy. And I think he's ready to go. I think he gives him 5 innings tonight.
I'm
I'll
sorry,
take 5
I can't
innings.
agree.
That's
yeah,
a win if
I
you
would
get
take
5
it too,
innings.
and I want to
take
see
it.
that, but I'm scared to death that he turns into a pumpkin tonight.
Maybe he's got one more. Maybe he's got one more in the tank. Guy's such a legend, and here it is. Maybe he goes into the 6th inning. There's one lock, though. Varland's coming in. That's like
always.
He's the first guy out. Louis
they
Varland
love
is a
pitching Louis,
lock.
man.
He will always pitch.
Yes. The only time he hasn't pitched, I believe, in the playoffs was Game 1 of the World Series.
I hate his shoe game. There's something about his wheels.
The worst shoe game.
What do you
They're
mean?
black
what about his
shoes with a
shoes?
blue
It's like he's
uniform.
wearing soccer, little Geppetto boots or something. They're black, and there's like black socks. I don't know what it is about his wheels. He needs an upgrade in the wheel department.
He's a superstitious guy. He wore
100% agree.
black
Yeah.
sneakers with some team way back, and he was pitching heat, and he's like,
It's
I'm
just
this
a
black-
weird
black
vibe. He's
sneakers
kind of
guy.
bow-legged, and he's got these tight pants on with the little Geppetto slippers. And I
slippers.
I can't do it. He needs a revamp of style down low.
Could not agree with you more. That it just because the Jays, like the home whites, are such a sharp look, man.
Yes.
They're phenomenal. You can't come out of the bullpen
With
trying to
a
hold
black
on to the lead.
or a dark gray Geppetto slipper.
You can't do it, man.
No.
You can't. Like I'll. It's like a goalie with different colored pads when he first gets traded. I'll give you a practice or two, maybe a start, but then that's enough.
What about goalies who use black tape on their stick? That's bad style.
I've never
Goalies
even
gotta use
seen one.
white tape.
It's like a good player with the wrong vibe, the tongue's out or the tongue's in, and you're just like, you would be 10 times a better player with a better look. I just don't like his look down low with the shoes.
I don't know
agree. What
I've noticed it too. It's weird, man. It's a weird shoe game. Like
interesting.
I don't know
It
what
is.
the purpose of it is. I don't know. if he's got a shoe deal that he's got to stick to. You know, like is it a
It's got to be
shirt
different,
thing?
man. It's got to be different.
Bring some heat tonight in L.A. You know, like I don't know what unis they're going to be wearing, what colors they're going to go with tonight. But probably
we'll see
gray,
him
maybe
for
baby
sure.
blue. But
you don't have to wonder, man. Like you don't got to wonder what kind of shoes he's wearing because he'll be out there. We'll get a good look.
Louis, man,
fifth
they
or
love
sixth
going to
inning,
Louis.
he'll be there.
Yeah, and listen, Hoffman's been much better in September and October. Hoffman's a guy that you can have faith in if you need him. Dominguez, Farland, they're going to pitch. Fluharty, I think Bassett they trust now. You know, a couple of times we've seen him out of the bullpen. He's looked good. Very good.
They trust Fluharty against the Dodgers, especially.
They love
going back to the
Fluharty
regular
against the Dodgers.
season, right?
Yeah, they love him against the Dodgers, especially against Ohtani. Love him against Ohtani. So those are the guys you're going to see. And if it's deeper than that, that's when you start to hold your breath, right? If it has to go even further and deeper into the bullpen, and then you get into the Littles or the Fishers or whatever, that's when it maybe changes the tune a little bit. But, you know, the way to compensate if the arms aren't alive is the offense has got to be there.
What do you guys have more faith in? Max Scherzer going into the fifth tonight, or the Leafs just like turning this thing around and all of a sudden looking like a team that can win the division?
I'm going to say Scherzer right now because I just saw it. Well, I just saw it like 10 days ago out of Scherzer.
Yeah.
Like he literally just did it. He had an unbelievable outing.
I have to stay consistent because when the Rangers were in town, Duthie asked me something about the Rangers, and I flat out said to him, I'm like, sometimes you just got to look around. If it's like performance after performance and say, maybe we're just not that good a team. Like for the Leafs, we're 10 games in, and how many times have you seen the same things? Caved into their own end, not enough offense, Matthews line stuck in his own zone, D can't get the puck. They get their asses cycled off in their own zone. Like, how many more times you got to see that before you have to think that that's a reality?
We've seen out of the 9 games, 6 of the games have probably been like that exact script that you just talked about, where it was like, you know, you didn't deserve to win the game, and chances are you didn't win the game. Like, there's 4 of them, 4 losses for sure that I can think of, basically.
Yeah, 4 to 6
like
where
that.
you're hanging on for dear life and you're getting outplayed. So it's like,
They had a Detroit game they played okay. And, I mean, you know, I guess one of the Sabres games you could say they played better than the Saturday game. Better than they have in a while.
So is Joseph Wall going to come back and, like, turn things around for you? I don't know. And I know it sounds kind of negative, but it's just being almost realistic where it's like, what is going to happen here? Are 10 to 12 guys on that roster, are they going to flip a switch and play much better for the results to change that much? Because that's what it seems like needs to happen. Not just Matthews. Like, is Michelli, you're not making, like, game-changing plays. There's just a lot of guys that need to change the way they're playing for it to change.
That guy's had a few too many chances, too, where you're like, he buried it right into the goalie's pads. Like, those start to add up, and you're like, okay, man, at some point, like, you get paid money to play in the top 6. You got to score on those opportunities. I'll say this, though. Like, Matthews goes on the ice with Easton Cowan and Nick Robertson. And maybe those are 2 guys that aren't on the radar to be playing with him for the foreseeable future, but 2 guys that could skate pretty well. And, like, they kind of got in there. They went in on the forecheck. Next thing you know, they make 2 plays. It's in the back of your net. Like, maybe you got to think outside the box a little bit. Like, I know he had Robertson again with Matthews today at practice.
That's because Nylander wasn't with them.
He wasn't with them, but, like, when you see something like that, don't you sit there and say, maybe we need some guys that can skate with Matthews, and it doesn't have to be the normal guys. I don't know. They're at the point where they got to try some stuff, I think, not even though they've already tried a million different line combinations.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way to describe it is if I were to ask the both of you, you know, give me 3 things that have been positive for the Leafs, like 3 legit positive stories or players. I think you can mention Willie. Willie's been point producing. You know, Willie hasn't had his ace stuff. He hasn't been dominant. He hasn't been great 2 ways, all that kind of stuff.
I'll give you the other 2. Morgan Riley's start where everyone was like, wow, this guy's dialed in now. And he had the couple games where everyone was talking Morgan Riley's grooving out there. Mm-hmm. And the other one is John Tavares on the verge of 500 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's more of a big picture feel-good story as opposed to, like, something concrete. And yet they're 4-4-1, and that might be the glass half full. That they actually haven't even shown up yet and arrived in the season.
And Hayes, I get to that point all the time every year, but it seems a little bit different on the negative side this year because all the time I say, what was I kind of pissy about early in the season? Remember, like a couple years ago, they were in Anaheim and they were asking the coach if he was worried about his job, and then last year Toronto played St. Louis at home, and then they went to Columbus and they got dummied, and it was like, what the hell are these guys all about? And it always kind of flips in their favor, but I don't know if it's going to be such an easy flip this year.
No, well, November will determine that because that has been their history. Soft or slow October, great November, and then you're off and running. So, we're going to find this out in a month what they really are. But I do think, we keep talking about the line mates with Matthews, and I keep harping on him. He hasn't been nearly good enough, like not even close. I don't think Matthew Knies has had a good start.
No.
And those are guys that are really important. Like, yes, you need Nicholas Waugh to be good, and you need Domi to be way better than he's been. And maybe Easton Cowan's going to come in and out, and you hope that he grows up quickly. But it doesn't matter what your depth players are doing if your best players aren't playing at an elite level. And now you got Tanev hurt, who hadn't been playing great prior to him getting injured. He was okay, but now he's hurt. We don't know when he's going to return. Stolarz has not been as good as he was last year. So, you look at the best, this league, especially with how much parity there is and how many teams there are, it's who are your 4 or 5 best forwards, your 3 or 4 best defensemen, and who's your goalie. That kind of determines what it is. Everything else is filler. And, yes, the best teams have the best filler. Clearly, that's Florida, case in point. Their third line, their third pairing is as good as it gets, if not the best. But generally speaking, in terms of the regular season, who's going to make the playoffs? 3 or 4 forwards, 3 defensemen, a goalie. Like, that's kind of what's going to determine what you're going to do and what you're going to be. And the Leafs' 3 or 4 best forwards and 2 or 3 best defensemen and goalie haven't been that good.
Yeah.
But they can be.
Been that good.
They can be. And here's the other thing, like, the team has a certain philosophy on how they want to play, and it's different than how it was prior to Berube and prior to Tree leaving. So you bring in some different guys. So Matthews needs to play well for sure. But Knies, McMahon, Waugh, Joshua, Lorentz, you should never say that it was quiet from any of those guys. You know what I mean? Like, you should never be like, oh, I didn't see anyone kind of stir anything up, or I didn't see any hits, or I didn't see, like, the way those guys are and the way the team is designed, or the way they want them to play, there should not be quietness from all those guys. Mm-hmm. It has to be noisy, or else it looks the way it looks, like kind of slow, heavy, but not overly mean. And it's a bad combo.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you could add to that list, like Max Domi's got to be a noticeable player.
Yeah.
He's got to be in the mix. He's got to be stirring
Someone's
it up.
got to bring something different to the table. Like, if you look at Max and Michelli and maybe Easton Cowan, like, they all can't go out there and do kind of the same thing. The smallish kind of left-handed shot, skates well, but what are you actually doing out there? Same as all the guys that you just mentioned, Frankie. Those big kind of Lorentz and Joshua and Waugh, like those big laboring. It's almost like Jim Taddy, the one thing, not the one thing, but it was the one thing that really stood out. He didn't like duplicates. Guys are kind of that do the same thing. Everyone's got to bring something different to the table. And it seems like there's some groupings of guys that are just going out there and doing the same thing, and it's equating to zero.
Yeah, and we talk about Florida all the time. Like, Hayes, you brought up Florida, right? Like the
there's a
depth
team
players.
that has a bunch of different elements, different types of players.
But also, it's like they will sit there and they will play a 0-0 game because they care about defending so much, and they're just going to wait for you to make your mistake. Like they did it to the Leafs last year in the playoffs. And so if you want to play a heavy style, like it's kind of defensively before it gets to be offensive, and I don't know. I'm not convinced the players on this roster are wired to play the way.
That's what Berube would like it to be.
They want them to play.
Be heavy, Like he keeps emphasizing the one and done offensively, which is very true. Now, also the defense corps has got to take some heat here too. They haven't been good at like transitioning the puck. You get hemmed in large part because the defense isn't quick enough on pucks.
Yeah, it sure as hell isn't one or done defensively.
Right, exactly. And they're getting hemmed in because they're slow getting back or they're not transitioning quick enough. And That's what comes with an older veteran team. And October is tough for every old veteran team to get up for a long season. I think they have faith that it'll click, that they'll get healthy, they'll get going, that veteran presence will turn into savvy presence, and they'll start moving in the right direction. Because I would be – it's weird because, if they were a young team, you'd say, all right, they're not ready for prime time. If they're an old team, the worry is, okay, they've expired. It's too old. Like at some point that's going to happen, right? But I think them being a veteran team, that's probably where the optimism comes from within, is that they're going to click and figure it out.
And don't even ask for going. There's nothing out there.
No, you're not acquiring anything.
Look what Vancouver had to get they got Reichel from Chicago. Like that was that's what's out there.
Yes.
There's not enough good players. There's no one available. No one wants to get rid of their players.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about duplicates. It's all duplicates out there. You're just bringing in whatever you got. No one that really moves the needle. You got it comes from within.
Yeah, there is no needle movers available.
No. And you're not the only team looking for them, too. If there were available, you wouldn't have the pieces to pay for because another team would pay for it.
I saw some mutant on Tampa. They called up from the minors. Some mutant took a run at Mitch Marner and put him on his ass, and it's like, look at that. There's another plug-and-play. Tampa called him up from Syracuse. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to play on an entry level for a couple of years, bring some juice to the lineup. Like
James?
Is that what it was? That was his last name, James?
Yeah.
You hit him twice. I think he laid out Marner a couple times.
And it's like that's something that you would love to have in the system, but it's just not there. You can't go to the Marlies and say, we're going to bring up this kid. He's going to give us some juice. It's just never really been there.
No, it's not the way it's going to work for the rest of this year anyway. All right, Best Bets coming up, powered by FanDuel and the Sports Equinox tonight. 32nd time in history. NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL all playing. We'll get to that more next.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Don't be shy, shy, shy. La, 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 la.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We're hitting the Equinox tonight. Jays on the run line, so you're getting 1.5 tonight. Dodgers pretty big favorite. I think this is a close game. I do believe the Jays can win it. I like that they're up against Glass now. They have good history against him. I could see a lot of runs being scored tonight. Jays on the run line. Laying the points with the Chiefs. Massive number, minus 10.5. Al's brother has convinced me. Al's brother, tremendous information, gut instinct, seeing the board very well. Chiefs minus 10.5. Raptors, I'm taking the points in San Antonio. They were so bad, defensively in particular. I think Darko snaps. I think they get after it. I think they play well tonight. I think they cover the number. And I'm on the Sens money line at home against Boston. Man, Boston had a good start, and they are brutal now. Like, terrible.
Ottawa's playing better, too. Like, Ottawa's kind of back to their identity now.
Yes, last two games they played much, much better.
People goofed on me when I talked about Pinto.
He's been great.
Pinto's a good player. Why would anyone goof on you about Pinto?
No, I love the guy. I've loved him since the start. I think he's...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I always said put Pinto in the middle, put Brady on the left, and Stützle on the right.
Mm-hmm. Pinto's scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah.
And Allmark's getting in fights or trying to instigate stuff.
Dude, it might be the turning point in their season where Allmark showed the boys I actually give a...
Yeah, you're right.
You know what?
Yep.
Yeah.
After blowing out Washington, right? Like they were up
Same as
big.
McCabe the other night. It's like if you just go through the motions and keep losing and keep getting smoked and nobody does anything to show that it's not accepted, it's just you keep getting smoked. Like just show that you care a little bit, man.
Yeah.
And McCabe did that.
McCabe
I'm not
did
saying
that. You're right.
Like he hit a guy and then he fought a guy and it was just different than the norm.
It looks so different. It looks like such an outlier of every other event that happens on the ice in a Leaf game, doesn't it? Like, it's so stark, the difference.
Tuck was, man, he took one right off the button, too, man.
Yeah, that scared me.
Tough,
I was like,
man.
That was a weird, like, I don't recall the last time I saw a guy do a 360 in a fight and just walk right into
it's
one.
clearly, like, Tuck's clearly not comfortable fighting.
Yes,
no, and then he told the linesman in the penalty box, he's like, no, I'm good. And I was like, dude, you should maybe go take a timeout.
Yeah, it was, I don't know what he was doing turning around like that. Like that, I don't know.
Dude, I give him credit, though. He goes right after him, right? Like, some guys might skate by and say, oh, what happened? I missed it. Like, it's not his cup of tea, but he was in there. That's a tough punch to take.
That was a massive punch.
Yeah.
Like, that was a serious punch from Jake McCabe.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, it actually finally showed something. You know, like you've had Stolar's comments off the ice and now Jake McCabe. Like, that's been the life of the season so far.
Yeah.
And for a veteran team that claims hate losing, embarrassed by the Florida thing, you'd think they'd come out, with their hair on fire and say, we're not going to take it. But hasn't happened so far. We'll see if it changes tomorrow night with Calgary in town. All right, Game 3 of the World Series tonight. Raptors in action Monday nighter. We got NHL games. Leafs in action tomorrow. Game 4 of the World Series tomorrow. It's going to be unreal. Cannot wait for it. All right, Frankie, good seeing you, man.
Okay, boys,
Thanks
for having me.
There's Frankie Corrado. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it, everyone, for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live. Every hour of every show up on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
Hazenthal every Monday, 4 p.m.
Cash Patel on line 1. Al's brother and Hazy B are cheaters. We'll chat then.
Yes.